Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Things That Matter with me, Marty McNabb. So, as you know, I have been listening to stories about the things that matter for well over a decade, probably thousands of them so far. In my live events with show and tales, I've hosted over 450 and both in person and virtually, and some I take on the road, as those of you who are familiar with me being in my little camper van part of the time, my camper van named Brooklyn. And that leads me to the reason why I know that my lovely guest today, Judi Aronson. So before we started, ended up like I've known her probably 20 some odd years at this point. But we weren't quite sure how we knew each other, but now we know it has to do with the fact that we both are connected to Brooklyn. Judi and her family are still in Brooklyn, part of the year at least, or a chunk of the year in Brownstone, Brooklyn. And I met her through when I had Memories Out of the Box, my little store that I could only make survive for about a year. But I kept on doing the work of my legacy artistry work, where I took photos, documents, memorabilia, everything people saved or inherited, and I created a visual narrative from that. That could have been anything, what I created. Mostly people liked a good old fashioned scrapbook because you could put baby teeth and locks of hair and the baby booties and everything in it, like everything but the kitchen sink. So that's what but I know Judi because she's also an entrepreneur, an artist, and you'll learn more about that towards the end. But she makes beautiful pottery and custom jewelry as well. So I ended up just so happened to look on Facebook not long ago. I've been a little off my social media game because it's been a little stressful these times, but I came across an amazing story that Judi spoke about a thing that matters to her family. As you know, most of the stuff that people bring, most of the things that matter that people bring here are not that quote unquote precious. They're not really heirlooms, but in this case, it really is. And I knew I needed to reach out and see if she would be a guest. And she graciously said yes. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to her and to have her end up telling the story about this amazing thing that matters. So welcome, Judi, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and letting me share this story. The thing that matters to me, something that I kept in the vault but took out because of this show. And since I took it out, I vowed to wear it every day because it reminds me very much of someone who I never met. Uh, my family comes from Hungary, and they were there during the Holocaust. And my grandmother, who was my father's mother, my father was an only child. Again, I never met her, was there. And she was actually offered an opportunity by Wallenberg, who was a very brave man and saved a lot of Jews during the Holocaust. She was offered an opportunity to get a Schuss pass, but she was afraid. She didn't know what it meant. So she unknowingly got on the train that took her to Bergen-Belsen, which was a concentration camp. She somehow snuck in this ring. Here it is. This ring, this diamond ring, she snuck it in because the Germans took away every bit of gold, including gold teeth that you had. I don't know how she hid it. That I will never know because that secret died with her. When she knew that she was dying, that she was not going to make it, she found a stranger, a stranger that she had never met before. And she said to him, I would like my son to have this ring. And she gave it to the stranger, obviously, number one, not knowing if the stranger was going to accept this and actually deliver the ring. not knowing whether the stranger was going to live and not knowing whether her son was going to live because he was in another concentration camp. I don't think she knew it. And he was actually liberated by the Americans like days before he probably would have died. So the stranger didn't know my father's address, just knew the name. So I'm going to assume that after the war, he went to the agencies that were there to help the refugees, the orphans, and help people pick up the pieces and asked for my father. And my father was alive, they knew, and he then went and gave my father this ring, this beautiful diamond engagement ring, which is all I have of my grandmother, who I never met. And yeah, it's a very, very sad story. We have nothing else. Everything was taken away. My the house my father lived in. He went back to the village. He came from a very small village, and he went to visit his neighbors. And when he went into the neighbor's house, they remembered him. He saw all of his parents' things, and he didn't say anything. He just walked out of there. He was like devastated. So this ring is the only thing that is left from my grandmother. It's important for me to tell this story because it reminds us how cruel people can be to each other and how important it is that we learn from history, and which we're not doing a very good job of, I have to admit, and that we don't allow these things to happen again. But unfortunately, they do. And so that's the story of this ring.
Oh my goodness. So, I'm curious. I usually say I only have one more follow-up question, but what I wanted to ask you is, so can you tell me a little bit more about your father getting this and then how it came to be yours? This.
My father, I would say he lived to 98. And he lived to 98, which, given the fact that he was 58 pounds when he was liberated, and he had tuberculosis, which he had 3 times in his life. It is a marvel, but he lived to 98 with all of his faculties. He gave it to me about 10 years before he died. And he told me the story of how he got the ring. And I just proceeded to put it in the vault. He gave it to me. He told me the story, he told me that obviously I didn't have any grandchildren at that time, that he wants, our kids to have it and then their children. And he really wants, it meant so much to him. He was very, very close to his mom. Mm-hmm. Very, very close. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you, Marty.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. 98 after everything he went through.
A very, very hard life, because then we escaped from Hungary during the Hungarian Revolution. I was 7, and he obviously had the ring with him. We were afraid the Russians would catch us at the border. It was obviously occupied by Russia and communist at that time. So my parents sewed the things that mattered to them into the hems of their clothes. So I would imagine that this was in the hem of something that they wore, because all we could take with us was what we had on. Yeah. So my parents had a very hard life, I have to admit, which gives me a lot of guilt, but they really, really did.
Wow. But they lived also long lives and
yes,
touched your lives for all those years and shared stories.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
My goodness. Wow. Like I said, this is the first this deeply connected heirloom. And remind me one last thing about, So this was an engagement ring of your
Yes,
grandmother.
yes,
So
yes.
what was the story? So she she was what happened to the the husband to be that never was,
Uh, yeah, well, he was. He died.
or they never married, I meant. So
No, they did marry. They
oh,
did marry.
they
They were
did.
married. Yeah, they had my father. She actually had another child that died as an infant, which in those days was. So my father was an only child because his brother, yeah, was a brother, wasn't a sister, died in the village. They lived together. They, the grandfather owned a little store in this small Hungarian village that is still a small Hungarian village. And there's a cemetery. I couldn't really find the tombstone. I think my father found his brother's tombstone, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
They married, and my grandfather died before the Second World War. He was not in the concentration camps. He died, I forget how. And of course, now I don't have anyone to ask.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
This is why it's so important to share the stories, because when it's there's the human library. Are you familiar with the human library? So
No.
it's an organization, I think, out of the UK, but they go around and do these events where they match people. It's usually intergenerational stuff, and they talk about when a person dies. It's as if a book disappears or as a library disappears. So, like you said, when you if you don't ask people these stories, they you know and that was the thing that I was missing from the Facebook thing, was that I thought this was an engagement to happen, to a marriage that was going to happen. So here, like, I
Yes.
had to ask the question to find out. So
Well,
it,
glad you did. Yeah,
they did
I'm
have
so
this marriage,
excited.
this and a child, and the that history, followed him and then now to you. And so it leads me to the one follow-up question that I usually do ask is, and it sounds like your father already ended up sharing what he wanted to have happen with this ring, but I'm going to ask you, what do you want to happen with this ring when you're dead and gone?
Well, I definitely want the ring to go down. I may have asked my daughter if she wanted it when she got married, but I don't know if she did. Uh, but I think I'd like to give it to my grandson, who's only 3, so it's a little premature. Okay, but I would give it to her to give to him then. That's I want him to have it. Of course, then I have to think about he marries someone and he gives it as an engagement ring. It will leave the family, but hopefully the story lives on because there's a lot of Holocaust deniers out there, which is very painful to me. I mean, I know. I mean, it happened 100%, but there are people that deny that it happened. So for me, keeping the story alive is incredibly important.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful and honored to be part of keeping that story alive and sharing it. Yeah, we've got, history deniers. We've got climate change deniers. We've just got, yeah. And it's like, and what they say, if you don't remember history, like, history will repeat itself. And it's
And we see it happening.
we see it happening presently. Yeah. And it's just
Yes.
so so sad that we as a human race can't learn from history and not repeat it. Yeah.
100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Thank you so much, Judi, for sharing that story and that being the show and tell section. And now, like as I do with all my guests, I welcome you to share a little bit more. Um, I had, alluded to the fact that you're an artist and a creative and an entrepreneur, and I just want this opportunity to have you share with my listeners and watchers more about the work, the artistry, and the important healing work other healing work you do in the world. So take it away.
I hope I can figure out how to turn the camera. I can on my iPhone, but I'm not sure on here. But if not, let me see. Can you see? Nope. Okay. Let me see. Nope. Okay. How am I going to turn the camera? Okay. I'll have to do it this way. Hold on. I'll have this in back of me. Okay. There is some of my pottery. Let me see if I can. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. The iPad is much harder. So this is a totem. Let me see. Nope. A totem pole that I made out of raku ware.
It is beautiful.
And this is
That's
naked
fun.
raku.
Oh, wow.
And this is soda fired. I do a lot of alternative firing. That's what it's called.
How neat.
And this on the bottom, let me see.
Yep. Can see
Can you
it.
see it?
Yep.
Okay, so that piece is Sagar, also a raku. And this vase, is it the red? Yes, the vase
Yep.
is also raku.
Oh,
And this is something I made in Brooklyn. It is stoneware, so high fired.
wow.
So
Stunning.
some of this, and I have a whole case, but I can't seem to unless, oh, I know, I have to open up. Can you see it? No, it's too dark.
It's a little
I'd
too
have to
dark.
open up. Well, here is one. Jars. Can you see that?
On your, yep. Yep. Oh,
Okay.
wow. Yes. Can see that.
And
It's beautiful.
this. I think I need the light for that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Nope. Yeah.
So
Let me.
what I'll do is I'll invite my look-in listeners to. I imagine you have some beautiful photos of this on a website, or they can find out more through your Instagram or other places. Correct?
Is probably the best place. I also do have an Etsy store for my
Oh,
pottery that is currently on holiday
okay. Okay.
because I'm upstate, but
Right.
it will be open soon. And so Instagram, Facebook is a good way, and the Etsy store is a good way. I do have a website, but I have to polish it a little bit.
I totally understand about that.
Yeah,
Entrepreneur.
yeah, yeah.
You can only do so much. So, but
I,
we'll have
I,
all of that in the show notes, so that people can find you and learn more about your creative work. And that's so important for us to find the things that bring us joy and keep on doing that during this time. Yeah.
100, 100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Judi. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing that most amazing, heart-wrenching, um, uh, important story for us to never forget. Um, and
Yeah.
and it is just, yeah, just an amazing thing to think about how that little piece of metal and diamonds travel from your grandfather to your grandmother to your father to you, and where it will go from there. It's like the
Yeah.
sea, the journey of that amazing piece of jewelry.
So I should also thank you because of you. I'm going to be wearing this every day.
Ah,
Not when I'm pottery, because clay would ruin it.
ruin it.
But
Right.
hey, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm glad that you can bring it, that I inspired you to bring that back into your life and to share
yeah.
the story. And hopefully it will also lead to you, like you'll have opportunities to share it more, the story with other people as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Things That Matter. And I encourage you to look around your space, look around your person, look around your home and other people's homes, because these are your personal museums. And it's not that the things matter, it's the stories that get attached to them that do. And make sure the most important things is that you share your story. And thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.